with WrungNeck Decoy. And I wanted to give you an update on something I've been working on. I'm the inventor of the WrungNeck Motion Decoy. What I did is I took the statuesque static decoy and I split it into two parts and broke that statuesque flotation. So now you have decoys that have a natural varied motion on the water, and I'll tell you why that is such a big draw for the ducks and geese coming in. So currently what we have launched, we launched the WrungNeck Goose floater, and we did that at Smith & Edwards, so we're going to put up a link of that store, so if you're interested in getting this Goose model, you can get that there. It's just going to be a white body and a black head is what you buy for the kit. So that's been going really good, and there's been a nice response to that decoy. And my first year hunting over it, I shot 16 different species of waterfowl, and I was usually running about 5 decoys. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. So what I'm doing on this segment is what I wanted to talk about is I have a major manufacturer, and this is coming your way for sure. I'm pretty sure that it's going to be a mallard version that comes out when it gets to that point where it hits nationally. And so I've been working with those folks, and I've been trying to tell them the benefit of trying to get a diver model coming out. And the reason why I think a diver is really going to work well with this concept, this motion concept, is the divers have their feet further back, and we all know that they can get down deep and kick up all the feed. Well, all your puddlers, they know that. It's just that they haven't had a decoy motion that would talk to them and tell them that that activity is going on. So I guarantee you, this season I'm going to add more of these to my rig, and I'm going to take about 5 divers and put them in the water, and I bet you anything I'm going to shoot every puddler that's in my marsh. So I'll shoot teal, cinnamon teal, pintails, gadwalls, shovelers. The motion, the concept on this looks really good to you. The one thing that might not look good to you is my handiwork as a decoy guy, carving, shaping this and painting it. But that might be a blessing in trying to prove the effectiveness of this concept, because if I can take a decoy that's more rudimentary and maybe more gunner style and basic, no detail, and it has the right motion, and I can go out and do what I've done as far as bagging and shooting ducks and geese. I just proved that you get this in the hands of some of the decoy makers that are fine art, fine detail, great paint jobs. We really got something coming your way by means of a big decoy maker. And so I want to talk to you a little bit and just kind of show you to clarify that point a little bit. This decoy right here is out of my original rig in my family that I hunted over. So I think this one's a Sears and Roebuck, probably came out of the 50s. I was hunting over these in the 70s. And so you can see, yeah, not a lot of huge detail on that. My work is probably getting as good as Sears and Roebuck back in the 50s maybe, but that didn't have much to it. I killed birds over these throughout the years, but the one thing I'll tell you is there was a lot of instances where I was struggling with the bird circling, because I have come to the conclusion that the birds spot that this is a static floating decoy right off the get-go, and that generates more circling than anything about your rig. So we've been hunting over those decoys. You know, I have, you know, over this version from the way back in those days. Then we get into semi-current days, and here's a teal that I dug out of the mud out on Farmington Bay, and that's got the same flotation as this decoy. And if you go all the way back 2,000 years and went into that cave in Nevada and pulled out the decoys that the ancients were using, it's the same flotation as what I got in my hand right here. This breaks that up. And so that's the correction that we're trying to get. And so I'll talk to you a little bit about what is the impact of this and what happens. Well, when you think of a waterfowl, a duck or a goose in their eye, it's a miracle the way it operates. I may be sending out bogus information. These are just feelings that I have over watching these birds over the years. But I really think that they have the capacity to shut down one eye, keep the other one open, and half of their brain goes on cruise control, and that's why they can migrate so far. Well, the other thing is their eye, I think, is programmed with good stimuli and bad, or dangerous stimuli or safe. And that's why I've watched geese that'll have their head laid back on their shoulder, and a rude coot will come barreling in and they won't even move. But you get a black wings of an eagle flying way up there over the top, and their head's going to jump right up off their shoulder because their stimuli was activated at that danger. Well, it's the same thing with the desire to feed. If you got your decoys in the water and they're speaking a certain way with their body language, these birds are going to spot that right off the bat. And so when I started hunting over these, the thing that just shocked me was how the circling ceased to happen. And these birds would just see this motion, and it didn't have to be a lot. It could be pretty subtle, and they would just lock up and their legs would drop. And that had to do with their aggressive nature to feed and muscle their way into the spot where these birds are at. So that's why I think I'm onto something. I'm gonna, this year I am gonna focus on a diver, and I'll report back to you how many species of puddlers I suck into these. And if you want to get an idea of what I'm going to try to do, just go on the internet and look up any feeding frenzy of canvasback ducks. These are redheads, but canvasbacks, and watch how many puddle ducks come into that activity that they're looking at. So this is something huge, something that I'm really trying to push the company to see the benefit of and go for, and we'll keep you posted on how that goes. So thanks, everybody. Let me go into a little bit of detail of how this thing is built and what makes it work. So what you have is you got your body that is separate. Your body is separate from the head and neck assembly. So the big issue was, how in the world am I going to be able to kill any birds when I got a decoy that's got a gigantic hole in it? And so with all the testing in the 3 seasons that I've had under my belt with this, the birds don't care. They don't care about that hole. What they do care about is having a decoy that gives them a natural look and eliminates that static flotation. So you've got your body moving one way, you got your head moving the other way, and when you get some ripple waves, like maybe I can show you on this. If I move that a little bit, I don't know if you can see a lot there on that, but when you get this in open water, you just added shoulders to your body too. And so that's a big benefit. So what you've got is you have a patent pending keel here that's notched and it's drilled through the center, and you just take 1/4-inch bullet weight, and this is a 24-inch piece right here, and that gets threaded through and then it gets coiled underneath, and then I've got all the adjustment and everything that I need right here. So history of this whole format coming out was me working on my own and out of the garage, and then finally I found a blow mold company that was willing to just take basic plastic and do this simple design just to prove that it would work and that I'd kill birds over it. And so now it's going to get enhanced, and some of the rough aspects of this are going to be really smoothed out, you know. And so the one thing that I think will happen with the materials that they're going to be able to use, they'll be able to go with lighter, more responsive materials. What that'll do is make the weight system on the bottom of the neck that much more minimal, and you won't have as big a piece that I had to use on this Goose. Now, if I had to do this all over again and build this and go to market with a simple gunning style decoy like this, I think I would have gone with the canvas back, and I just couldn't do it back when I started this, because the biggest thing I had to prove with this motion was that it would not flare Canadas. And it does not flare Canadas. It's just the opposite. They come in readily to this. And so that was a big aspect of, is this thing going to be successful down the road? And so that's why I picked a Goose model to run with. And boy, if I would have had that money back, and I knew what I know today, I would have done a canvas back. It would probably be my first species that I would have done in this, and I think I would have done it the same way, just a white body and a rust colored head, and let you guys do the rest of it. It would have been easy to finish. So anyway, that's kind of history, and so now we're just moving forward with the major decoy company and going to see if they're going to get closer to launching their version. So thank you, everybody.